Hello and welcome to Where Life Resumes. We are on the other side of the Women's Cricket World Cup 2025, and what a time it is to be an Indian cricket fan right now. Every single person right across India and around the world is talking about that World Cup triumph for the Indian women's team and what it means to them. It has been a struggle, make no mistake. Cricket in India for women hasn't been as easy. Unfortunately, they haven't garnered enough attention either. And over the years, every single generation of players who have went on to play women's cricket for India, I think they have had to face the struggle. It is a story of self-belief, of a fight, as much against the society as it is against themselves. And just coming from there and now tagged as World Cup champions, I think it is a very, very huge deal. The entire country is proud. And I think one of the proudest moments from that day in the DY Patil Stadium was after the women's won the World Cup. They took that trophy to the seniors members, to those from the yesteryears, to celebrate it with them. Everyone who was present on the ground, be it Jhulan Goswami, Mithali Raj, Rima Malhotra, Anjum Chopra, this Indian team wanted to go and celebrate their title with the players of the yesteryears, because of whose struggle the team can reap all these rewards right now. And it has been a journey as I speak, but there has been a journey, an individual one for every single player in the team. Let's actually go through it. It is a fun story. I was trying to jot those points down, but when I actually started going through, I realized every single player of that team has a story of their own. You are talking of Sri Charini, someone who debuted only 8 months ago. For her to come from a very small town in Andhra Pradesh to produce a performance and become the dependable that the captain could turn to, I think that left arm spinner in her is gonna reap so many rewards going forward. A very similar story for Kranti Gaud as well. Another small town girl had to face a lot of hardships trying to train, but from there to now, being the India's aggressor with the seam bowling, I think she has also traveled a lot of distance. You talk about Renuka Singh Thakur, the experience in her and her bounce back from the injury, I think that was very crucial. She was the vital cog for that Indian team in this campaign because it allowed India to be balanced. And her coming in with that new ball was very, very crucial for India. Might not have had those wickets, but definitely very, very economical at the top. And then those middle order specialists. Amanjot Kaur might be remembered for that Laura Woolward catch because that was perhaps the one that got us the World Cup. Came at the third try, but still she hung on to it, and it was so very crucial for India's win that day. For her to also show batting performances every time it was asked. In that semi final against Australia, where Jemima Rodriguez was struggling on one hand to keep her stamina going, Amanjot Kaur played a binder of an innings. And very similar to her, was Richa Ghosh with her impact with the bat, because every time India wanted a flourishing finish, Richa Ghosh was there. She was there sometimes anchoring the innings when initial matches, when there were very quick collapses. You almost get a feeling that she has that power to make things happen, and she did right through this World Cup. As important also were those supporting roles from Harleen Deol, from Sneh Rana, from Arundhati Reddy, from Uma Chetri in whatever way they could. There was a time where Arundhati Reddy might not have found her place in the 11, but she was there in the field taking some crucial catches. Even when Jamima Rodriguez was struggling through the initial phases of the tournament, she said and gave credit to Arundhati Reddy for being there with her through and through. That was the dressing room environment that this team was able to create. And then the top five of Indian batting. And the reason I keep them at the last because they have had perhaps a lot of impact, and that were the mainstay of this Indian lineup. To start with Pratika Rawal, what an introduction to women's ODI has Pratika had. With Smriti Mandana, I think the two of them, just even about a year, are already amongst the best opening batting pair to ever exist in women's cricket. If that doesn't tell you enough, her record speaks for itself. Just before that injury, Pratika was among the top run scorers, having scored more than 300 runs in the group stage. And she was right there every time India wanted. The starts she could get with Smriti Mandana was so very important. It's a pity that she could not finish that tournament after that freakish injury against Bangladesh. But then it was an opportunity for someone like Shefali Verma to come in. And how good was she in the finals? A player of the match performance in the finals. 87 with the bat, 2 wickets with the ball. and with the ball in time where India actually needed those wickets. Shafali Verma is another story of her own because she was dropped off the Indian side a couple of years ago following very inconsistent runs. She was asked to go back to India A to age group cricket to domestic cricket. She worked on her batting, and here she was once again taking on the opposition and instilling the fear that we associate her with. It was so very heartening to see the ease with which Shefali became a part of that environment. You talk of the environment, you talk of keeping mood light, and the first name that would come to your mouth is that of Jamima Rodriguez. Jamima Rodriguez has been there on the field, making sure that everyone was pumped up. Her energy was radiating right through. You could see her very actively leading from the front on the field, but at the same time, when it came and when the time mattered, she was right there putting her hand up. For Jemima Rodriguez to come up after that semi-final and open up about her struggles with anxiety, I think it was one of the bravest things to do, but it inspired so many in the cricketing fields outside of it. And it also said that Jemima Rodriguez is a very, very tough character, willing to do everything for the team. Knock against Australia in the semi-finals might be one of the best women ODI knock ever to exist, leaves us with the big three. Deepti Sharma, Smriti Mandhana, and Harmanpreet Kaur. And the reason I have them towards the end is because these were the three who had seen the heartbreak of 2017, where India had lost to England in the World Cup finals from a position which was winnable 9 times out of 10. For them to have that World Cup title at hand, to play such crucial roles across the tournament, I think it was brilliant to see. Deepti Sharma, especially a left handed all rounder, winning a Player of the Series award in a World Cup winning squad at home is something we have seen before. A very Yuvraj Singh like performance from 2011. Deepti Sharma was there with the bat when the team needed, with the ball as always, ending up as the highest wicket taker of the tournament with 21 wickets. I think Deepti Sharma is an asset, a huge asset to Indian team. Now we talk of Smriti Mandhana. Smriti Mandhana coming into the tournament was in form of her life. She had done everything right for the last 12 months, and we were all looking forward to Smriti turning it up at the World Cup, and she did not disappoint. A couple of blemishes here and there, but come the time where the team actually needed her, Smriti was there with Pratika or with Shefali, giving India the starts that were needed. Sometimes, if one of the other partners went out, she was there with Jemmy, with Herman, whoever was there around to make sure that India was batting through and through. And in a story of finding the right balance, I think Smriti's coming into form was just the right jigsaw puzzle there. And for her to team up with Harmanpreet in the leadership group, I think it just eases everyone through that team. Harmanpreet Kaur was tactically very astute right across the World Cup. There were times where maybe things could have been different, but she backed her instinct, she backed her guts, and that ploy to bring Shafali Verma with the ball was a pure captain's instinct move, and it worked wonders for the team. Harmanpreet Kaur herself wasn't in the best of forms through the tournament, but she came back when the team needed at the business, and Harmanpreet was once again in the runs. And once Harmanpreet was in form, you could see the fear starting to creep up in opposition's mind. That partnership of Harmanpreet and Jemima against Australia single-handedly took the game away from Australia, and that was a very defining moment in the World Cup. But what I liked the most about this World Cup campaign was the captain-coach relationship. We have seen it right through every single India's win in World Cups, be it men's cricket or women's cricket. It has come through this partnership, be it Kapil Dev and Man Singh in '83, MS Dhoni and Gary Kirtson in 2011, be it Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid in 2024. That relationship is a crux of your team doing well. And that is exactly what happened with Harmanpreet Kaur and Amol Muzumdar. For Amol Muzumdar to take up the role when the team was in absolutely no shape, creating that culture, creating that environment. He was right there defending his players when the team was losing in that 3 match losing streak. But when it came for the team winning, Amol was quietly at the back, making sure that the girls were celebrating that moment. And that is what coaching is about. That is what great teamwork is about. And that is perfectly what Amol Muzumdar and the entire support staff was able to do. So kudos to them as well. I would like to talk about a couple of things though. Harmanpreet Kaur in her post-match conference after the game said that this team came together and played as one unit. For those who were not in the team, for the injuries that happened to Yastika Bhatia before the tournament, for Pratika Rawal's exit before the semi-finals, She said that the entire team was crying for them. Yes, they were sure on one hand that the upcoming replacements will be very much able, but they were sad for their teammates who will miss out due to an injury. And that tells you a lot about what this team is about, how they are very much willing to work and fight with each other. And that has been the story throughout, hasn't it? Story of fight, a story of self-belief, a story of the will to change things, and a story that they can do well and this Indian team can win a World Cup. It's just phenomenal to hear all of it, and it's so heartening to see every single Indian fan celebrate. The fans that have been celebrating in the DY Patil Stadium as well. I think the approach and the gathering of crowd for these women's game has been the biggest win of the World Cup. There was record crowd at Guwahati at the start of the tournament when India opened up their campaign against Sri Lanka. In Navi Mumbai at DY Patil, I think there was so many beautiful times where the entire DY Patil Stadium, 40,000 or people in there, were rallying every single run, were cheering for every good thing that India was doing and rallying behind their team, even in the times where it felt it was tough. But it was not just about supporting the Indians. They were there for good cricket and they made sure good cricket did not go unnoticed. The entire of the stadium on their feet, giving a standing ovation to Laura Woolward after 100, might be one of the sights of the World Cup to watch. That's what it is all about. That is why I say this World Cup win will bring so many new things to the women's game. It has already caught the eyeballs. It has already caught attention of so many people. I myself know a few people who had given up complete hopes from the women's game. They had barely watched anything for the past decade. But having seen the women's game very closely, having seen all the ups and the downs for the past decade and a half, I think this World Cup win will be a pinnacle of the existing era, but will also start a new era in Indian cricket history. It will definitely add a lot more financially, but it's the perspective that will be much more benefiting. It will be about the infrastructure that will be developed. It will be about the young girls and boys getting inspired to take up the sport. It will be about the parents and how they might be willing to send their daughters for cricket as well. So it's an all round development. It's unfortunate that it hadn't happened till now, but this World Cup might just be a start of something very, very beautiful in Indian cricket. It is important to celebrate this win, and I hope there is an extended celebration that happens, perhaps something like the Marine Lines parade that happened with the Indian men's team after the T20 World Cup. These women are equally deserving of that, and I hope we see something like that very, very soon. Thank you for joining in. Let me know what your thoughts are about this entire World Cup campaign and India's path to glory, and how did you celebrate it at your place? Do let us know in the comments, and we will continue this discussion in there.